Hello everyone, it's Valerie from Stampin' with Valerie, and we are going to make a couple of cards today using Stampin' Up's Let's Go Shopping stamp set and the Let's Go Shopping dies, along with some of the Lay Shop's Designer Series paper. And quickly, I will just show you this Designer Series paper. It's got all of these fantastic prints. This is one of the first ones. I love all these little houses, or little shops, I should say. And then we're going to use some of this paper today, this side. It's got the little food paper with this back pattern, kind of looks like sidewalks, which I think is fantastic. We've got art supplies and books on this page with this fantastic yellow crosshatch print on the back. And then we've got 3 different sheets that have different shops on them. So this is the first one. It's got the bakery, like an Italian restaurant, it looks like. The bakery again, a candy store. And I think that's all on that one. Oh, and let me show you the back of that one. It's got this beautiful Baroque print on the back, which is fantastic. Then we've got this page, which is great. And I think this is one of my favorite ones because it's got the clothing shop, the noodle shop, the art store, and then it's got all these little bushes that you can, or these little plants that you can cut out with the dies, which I think is fantastic. And the back has this fantastic blue Baroque print on the back. And this one is perfect because you've got just a little, looks like an apothecary type store, a little plant store, and the bookshop, which I think is fantastic. And on the back, you got that great striped print. Okay, so let me put these papers aside and then we can get started. I'm going to set the stamp set over here. We're going to use a couple of different ones from this. We're going to use this stamp set, or this stamp, the book stamp, and the little sandwich board stamp, and the happy birthday, because we're going to make a cute little birthday card today. And then we're going to use a couple of the dies. We're going to use this one and this one to make a little awning for our bookstore, which is going to be super cute. I cannot wait to get it done. Let me see if I can see. There we go. I'm not sure if this is actually going live. It's supposed to be public. And for some reason, it's not doing that. Let me close this out. No, I'm going to keep it going. We'll deal with it. If it's not public right now, it will be shortly, so I apologize. This is all new to me. I keep hitting public and it keeps switching back. So let's cut a piece of this. So just grab a paper trimmer. If you have this paper and you want to make this card, just grab a paper trimmer. And we're going to cut just one row of this. And I'm going to use this bottom row because my little stamp matches this little building perfectly right here. So we're going to end up using that piece there. So I'm going to slide it in this way because we want it to be 4 inches. And then because it's going to go on the front of a 4 by 5 1/4 card, or 5 1/2 card, we're going to make it 5 1/4 long. And of course I want this piece to be 5 1/4 because this is going to be the front of our card. Then we will take our stamps and I will grab a small piece of Whisper White cardstock because we're going to be doing some die cutting and we want to make sure it's small enough to fit through. Let me see what I've got here. That piece should work perfectly because I want it to fit through the small Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, so the smaller one. So we want to make sure it fits through there. So let's grab Memento because we want to color this with some alcohol markers. And so always use your Memento if you're going to be coloring with alcohol markers. And then stamp yourself a nice image there. We can set that stamp aside because we don't need it now. We're done with it. And then we're going to do the books in the window. And I try to line up the bottom of the bookshelf with the bottom of the window here. Just line it up as best you can. And actually did pretty good with that one, so I'm pretty proud of myself. And then we'll stamp the fantastic little sandwich board. Make sure it's inked well before you stamp it, because we're going to die cut that as well. And then this piece is going to be die cut on the white as well. Let me grab another piece of So Saffron. We'll use So Saffron to cut our little, the rest of our, oh my gosh, the little canopy that's going over our stuff here. All right, so let's grab our die cut machine. Always layer that white one first, which has all the directions on it of how to layer. Then plate number 2, and then put down, I just bent my paper, but that's okay. Put down your little pieces. Now the only thing I want to make sure is that this one and this one stay in place when we use them. And so I'm going to use, let me pull it out of my drawer here if I can find it. Where did I put that? I'll just reuse this piece here. We've got a piece of, it's Post-it tape. And you can use just a piece off an actual Post-it note if you want to. You don't have to buy the tape. I'm just going to use that to hold that one in place. And I've got a piece over here that we can use to hold our little sandwich board in place. And the nice thing about this Post-it tape is it doesn't rip the image off. It doesn't, I need to make sure I can see part of that so I know it's still where I want it to be before I tape it down. It just seems to work better than washi tape for me, because I always end up with a part of my paper ripping off with my washi tape. Even though it's not very sticky, it is stickier than this postage, with this Post-it tape. All right, and then just go ahead and run through your die cut machine, cut these pieces out, and then we'll do a little bit of coloring. And don't worry about those noises that it makes. It always does that. Your plates are going to make creaking and cracking sounds no matter what die cut machine you use. It really doesn't matter. And then I have this little magnetic wand. It's perfect for holding everything in place, or holding everything in place, but keeping everything from getting lost before you stick them back. Where they actually belong. So this is handy for when I'm doing videos and things like that. And if you drop something in the trash, it's fantastic for getting those magnetic things, those metal things out. So isn't that fantastic? That Post-it tape just comes right off. I can just stick that aside somewhere so I can use it later. It's nice because you can use it more than one time, so I don't feel like I'm wasting money on a roll of tape that I'm only going to be able to use once. So I kind of like that. So now we're just going to go ahead and color this. And I'm going to use, like I said, some alcohol markers. And I've got a bunch of different ones here because we got a bunch of little books in here that we want to make sure get colored. And I will just start out by coloring. Let me see, we'll get the the steps done, and we'll use Smoky Slate. And those are simple, just a quick little line, and they're done. And we'll color maybe the bottom of this base here, and maybe one of the books in Smoky Slate as well. Might as well use it for more than one thing, right? No point in just grabbing it and just doing one little thing. I've got Poppy Parade in the light color. We'll color one of the books in that. I think they're super cute, and then we'll maybe just the spine of this book here. We'll get in that Poppy Parade. We got some mint macaron, and I think I'm going to go and use, this is mint macaron dark. I'm going to do the frame of the window in that, and maybe the door too. I think those are perfect little colors because we kind of want everything to coordinate with this balmy blue over here, but I don't want to do just blue, so we'll just do some pastels for our main colors on this building because it works perfect and it will look super cute. We can color one of our books in that mint macaron. Grab the Do the door real quick. And you can use the other end if you want to, the brush end, but I kind of like to use the tip unless I'm doing a lot of blending. And I'm not doing a lot of blending in this one. I'm just straight up coloring. But I still like the way it looks when you color with the alcohol markers versus the regular Stampin' Write markers. I like to use those on red rubber stamps and coloring in images and that type of thing. But other than that, I don't use them a lot other than journaling. They're great for journaling and scrapbooks too. I do use them for that more than anything really. We'll grab some Calypso Coral, another nice little pastel color. We'll get one of our books colored in that color, I think. And then maybe part of this book down here. This little book down here has some cute little parts. It's got the little corners that need to be colored, and I'm going to use the bronze marker for that. I'm going to color the little corners of the book, and then I'm going to use to color this. I don't know if it's a stand or if it's a book on its side there, but I'm going to use that to color that in because I think it's perfect for that, just to get a little bit in there. And you don't have to use as many colors as I'm using, but it's just what I'm doing. I'm going to use Mango Melody just for the top part of the building. This is Mango Melody Light, and it's kind of between a yellow and an orange. And of course, the more you color it, the darker it'll get. And I could have used the dark marker, but I kind of like the light one better. And I have So Saffron, and I think I'll just use So Saffron for a couple of the books. Maybe this little sign, and maybe these, the edges of this book here. And then we've got 3 colors left, and I think for the building, I think I'm going to leave it white. I don't think I'm going to color it any particular color. We'll use some Old Olive Light, and we'll color in this book here. So this book is kind of a red and a green. We'll throw some green up there. And then what we have left is Highland Heather and Balmy Blue. So let me go ahead and do some Highland Heather. Get that one done. And then this little sign that's on the door, we'll fill in with Highland Heather. Why not? We'll give it that cute little purple color. And then we'll use some Balmy Blue for this book. Maybe the center front of that book, and even the center front of this book, why not? And then we'll go up here and fill this in. The great thing about alcohol markers is you can go over other colors and it still looks good. All right, so I think we'll leave the building white like that. So, oh, we might as well color our sandwich board too. Whoops, if I can keep it on the table. So I'm just gonna do that in the bronze for the outside edge. And then I'm not going to color in the entire little sign part of it, but I will actually just take maybe, let's go with the Poppy Parade Light, and we'll just go over these little lines that are supposed to be writing and just go over them, kind of give it a little bit of color. I think that's perfect. I don't think we need any more of the markers. We can put those to the side. And let's make a card base. Let's just use some Whisper White for our card base. And I think we're going to make a second card after this, so we'll use Whisper White for that one as well. So just grab an 8.5 by 11 sheet. And first we are going to score it at 4 1/4. Because we want to make sure it folds good. And then we will cut it at 5 1/2. So now we've got a card base for both cards, which is perfect. And just use your bone folder, give it a good crease. And then we can get started. Let's layer our balmy blue piece, which has all this cute little street, the street with all the little buildings on it. I think it's fantastic. And we'll just use a tape runner. You can use glue or whatever you want to use. I'm just going to use tape runner. Adhere that onto the front of your card. And then for this one, we're going to need just some glue for the back of this. And I'm going to hold on to that with a pair of tweezers so I don't get glue all over my fingers. I still might, but hopefully not. We'll find out in a minute. Just put a little bit of glue on there. You don't have to put a lot, because it'll just smear all over if you put too much. And then grab your other piece of the awning. Just glue it right down to the front of that awning. Perfect, right? And flip it over. We're going to throw some dimensionals on the back of that. We'll do a couple of small ones, one on each side, and then one in the middle, and they'll be perfect. And then our sandwich board, we'll give that a dimensional, just a regular size dimensional. We'll put some on the back of our little bookstore. Just one in each corner and one in the center will be plenty. So you don't have to go overboard on them. But you can if you want. If you like lots of dimensionals, throw them on there. It depends on the project. I don't like doing just on the corners if there's any, if it's this size or bigger or even a little bit smaller than this, because I don't like the center to bow in on me on a card. So I always do that. Now look how that fits perfectly right over that little building. And so we're adding just a little bit of color to the front of this card, which is fantastic. We'll put our little sandwich board sign there. We'll grab our awning, and then we're going to get the happy birthday sentiment and make a little happy birthday sentiment for on here. Put our little awning right over the top of that window. See how it fits perfectly over that. I love that. I think it's great. And then just grab some scrap pieces I've got some Whisper White, and this is Smoky Slate. And I will stamp happy birthday in that black memento on that Whisper White. Make sure I've got it centered. Hopefully my head's not in that looks pretty good. I'll just trim the end off at an angle. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of that and stick it to this piece of Smoky Slate. Now, I could have cut this Smoky Slate really thin to go with this. This is a 1/2 inch strip of Whisper White, but I'm just going to cut it now that it's on here and just cut around. And then it's perfect. Instead of having to make it, let's see, maybe we can add some of our beautiful so saffron to this. Maybe we might need a little bit bigger piece. We'll layer it one more time, I think. Let me grab another piece of so saffron, just a scrap. So I've got a scrap piece here. Let's use this piece at the bottom because the corner doesn't look like it's all bent. This corner is bent. This one's already been cut. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to layer it onto that piece, and then I'll just cut around it. Sometimes it's just easier doing that if you don't have too much to cut. Let me just cut that off there so it's easier to cut around this than to measure everything first. Perfect. Add some dimensionals to the back of that. I'll probably do 3 on this, even though 2 would probably be sufficient. We'll give it an extra one just because we can. We'll throw our little happy birthday up here at the top of this building. I think that would be cute. And then maybe we can add Some of these little sparkles are kind of cute. These are the rhinestone waves. They're retired, I believe, but we're going to use them anyway because we can. And we'll go with more of this one in the center here, which might be balmy blue, it might not be, but it's close enough. We'll add some little sparkle here and there on the card. And if you've watched my videos before, you know I like the smaller ones better than the larger ones. So I'm going to use some of the smaller ones here. And then maybe there's these little medium-sized ones are kind of good. Don't get me wrong, the big ones are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. I just prefer the smaller ones. Just add a medium one there. And maybe a medium one up here, just to give it a little bit of sparkle on the front of that card. So there's our first card. How cute is that? I love this little card. It's adorable and super easy to make. You can even, if you didn't want to do all the coloring, you could cut out one of these other little buildings from one of the other papers if you wanted to put on there, and that would be perfect as well. I just wanted to do the coloring because I like to color, so that's why I did this. Okay, so there's card number one. Card number two, we are just going to use this stamp again, and I need to make sure I clean it first because I'm going to use some lighter colors with this. And let me grab my inks over here. We're going to use Soft Seafoam, Flirty Flamingo, and So Saffron. Let me just fold that card base that we already cut. Then I'm going to grab a piece of Whisper White that is cut 4 inches by 5 1/4, and we're going to use that. That's going to be on the front of our card. And we're going to do a card that's in the catalog because sometimes it's nice just to do a card where it's going to be similar to this card. It's not going to be exactly like this, but very similar. And actually, let's use some of that paper as our background behind our piece of Whisper White. We'll cut that Whisper White a little bit smaller. So let me grab that paper again. And so we can use a piece of that. And I know I've cut some of that before, so let me find my smaller piece. I have a smaller piece here somewhere. We don't want to cut a 12 by 12 if we don't have to. All right, let's see. Where are you, smaller piece? There's the 12 by 12. And I'm not sure where I set the other piece at. So we're going to be cutting this piece because otherwise it'll take me half the day to find it in this disaster area of a desk I have here. So let's cut this piece to 4 1/4. 4 by 5 1/4, I apologize. So let's cut it at 4. And then we'll cut it to a 5 1/4 long. And then I'm going to hold off on cutting this other piece of white until after we've stamped on it. So let's grab our stamp, which is right here. And let's start with the Flirty Flamingo because that's the biggest one on here in the center because they actually use the top part of this building as well for the Flirty Flamingo one. So let's grab this stamp as well, and we'll use both of those to make the first building. And bring it toward the bottom of the Whisper White because we're going to cut some of this off the top when we're done. And it doesn't have to be perfectly centered. I'm going to kind of go a little bit to the right. And we'll stamp that on there first. And then we need to make sure we clean it because we're going to use this same stamp for the other 2 colors. So you don't want to mix your colors. Just set that aside. And then we'll do, get this on here somewhat straight. Flirty Flamingo for the top of this building as well. Just kind of line it up and then get your stamped on. How cute is that? Perfect. And then we don't need that top part anymore because we're not going to use that on this one. But we are going to use these lights. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line them up here first, just to make sure I've got them where they need to be. We'll take this stamp off, put this one on, that way I know they're straight. And then we'll just line them back up and stamp them from, so you can see them in the window. How cute are those? I think I had some other color ink on this before I stamped the top of that building. It's a little bit darker, but it's okay. We're gonna just go with it. Too late now, right? We've got the little lights. We don't need those again. So let's take those down. Let's do the cute little baked goods in this window. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other. I'm going to line it up at the bottom, but this has a little bit thicker line, so it's going to be kind of lined up at the very bottom of the window. So it's kind of right along the bottom, but then we got those cute little baked goods in there. And I think that's good for that one. Now our next building we will do on the right hand side. We will do that in the soft seafoam, which is a really pretty light pink color. And we'll just kind of line it up again at the bottom. Make sure it's stamping right, and it is. It looked a little dark, but I think my stamp is just stained now, which is okay. That's not a huge deal. And then we got that one there. Clean the stamp. And we will go do the So Saffron on the left-hand side. And on the left-hand side, in that So Saffron one, we're gonna make it into a little cafe, I think. On the right-hand side, all we have is pretty much the door, so we can't really do a lot with that. But on this side, we've got the window again, so we'll turn it into the little cafe. So we'll use that So Saffron ink again. And we'll do these cute little chairs. We're gonna do this little window decoration at the top. So let me grab another block that we can use for those cute little chairs. And again, line them right up with the bottom of the window the best you can. Stamp them on there, and that turned out really good. Clean that stamp, move it over out of the way. And then we'll use this same block for that pretty little filigree or whatever you want to call it for the top of the window. And that looks super adorable. Love that. And then for this card, they've also done some die cutting, and they have added an awning over this door. So we're going to do the same. Let me grab some Flirty Flamingo paper. We'll just grab a piece of scrap here because we don't need it to be huge. So I'll just cut a little piece of scrap. And then we're going to use another little piece of Whisper White again. Kind of how we did that first awning. We'll do the white and we will do the Flirty Flamingo instead of the So Saffron that we used before. Then we are also going to use, actually I needed to keep that So Saffron over here. I'm so sorry. We're going to stamp this little planter in So Saffron on the So Saffron cardstock. Grab another block here. And then we're going to die cut that out. And it's just going to be tone on tone. I love that look. It's super cute. And what's our last piece? We need a piece of mint macaron, or not mint macaron, I'm sorry, soft seafoam. And we are just going to grab our dies first. Let's get for our awning, and then we need the die for our little plant. The fun thing is this comes with 2 of those little plants. And then we're going to do this corner piece that is for to look like plants. And then we're going to do 2 of these little leafy pieces. And so I just need to make sure I have a piece that's just about the right size for all of that to fit on. And then we'll get a couple things out of the way here. We'll grab that die cut machine again. And we will die cut some pieces here. So same layering, plate 1, plate 2. We don't need a big piece of this, so we'll just cut a little piece off from that. So that'll be for our awning. I'm going to try to run all these through at the same time, so bear with me. Let's see if this works. I'm going to take my small pieces of tape that I have left, which I do see my roll of tape over here, so we might need some more pieces. We'll see. But I'll show you that real quick just so you know what I'm talking about. It's Post-it, labeling, and cover-up tape, and that's what I'm using here to tape these pieces down with. Make sure our little plant gets taped down because we want to make sure that stays where it needs to be. And then I got some more. Let's see if these will, that's actually the perfect width. We'll just use a couple of these pieces to tape that down. I don't think I need to tape those 2 down, so we'll see what happens. Put your other plate on top. And I just moved them around after I said I didn't need to tape them because that's my life. And then we'll go ahead and just die cut those. Now, sometimes when you're rolling this through, you got to really push down on this, and I'm sitting in my chair, so I can't actually push down on it the way I want to roll it through. There we go. It was this longer one that was holding me up there, but I got it. We've got our awning pieces. I'm going to grab this again just to hold on to all of these pieces when so I don't misplace them. Put our scraps off to the side because we don't need them. Tape off my fingers too. All right. I'm like, where did my little piece go? But it's right there in front of me. There we go. Those are all stuck to that now. And then we can just push these leafy pieces through. Now this one, we don't need a super long piece. So let's see, it doesn't look like I got it to go. Oh, there it goes. It's coming apart now. At first it didn't look like it cut all the way through, but it did. It was just being stubborn. All right, so we got all those pieces. We can set these plates aside, get them out of our way, and then we can start assembling our card after we just cut the little piece off the top here, which we don't have to cut a lot off, but just enough that we'll be able to see our nice pattern paper here. And I got that pretty close to the top of that, a little closer than I thought I was going to get it, but perfect. All right, I'm going to do this piece flat against that yellow designer series paper there, which I believe it is. It may be So Saffron. I think it is. And then we're just going to line it up here so we have a border on the top and the bottom. And then we'll actually put this piece flat on the card as well because it will be perfect for that since we're going to be using dimensionals on all of our other little pieces. Now you could turn this into a birthday card as well, but I think we're going to do just wish you were here. I think that will be a good sentiment for our card. So let's grab, I got all these other stamps on the top. I don't want to flip them off. we'll just do Wish You Were Here, and we'll probably use some Whisper White for that, again, like we did for the other. So now this little piece is just going to go across here, but it doesn't need to be this long. So we're just going to cut this little piece off right here because our building is cut off here, so it can't fit all the way across there. Just grab some glue. This is just Tombow multi-glue. Use whatever glue you have. We'll go across the top of this building. Get that piece glued down. And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to do the same. We're just going to snip some of that off, and it's right about here, so we'll snip it at that leaf. Then you got a little piece left if you want to use it for something else. Now these are so thin, so you're just going to need a couple little dots of glue in a couple of the thicker spots to hold it down. Put that across the top of your building. And then this one, I've got a couple little pieces that need to come out. So let me just use my take your pick tool to poke those out. And then this one will leave whole and it'll hang all the way down the building. So it looks like the plant is growing down the side. Love that. And depending on what color you do your building, you can make it match like this if you want, like the, and if you put enough glue on it and don't let it stick to your finger, it will stick to the paper. Put a little bit more on there. But you could do other colors. You don't have to use the soft seafoam and the Flirty Flamingo and the So Saffron. Unless you want to, you can make it brighter. You can make it more muted with some neutrals, and it would still be just as cute. I just wanted to kind of follow what they did in the catalog because I thought it was a cute card. And then we will grab some dimensionals for our awning. Again, I just use the smaller ones. Or if you have smaller little round foam dots or whatever, use those. Doesn't have to be Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, but that's just what I have, so that's what I'm using. And they had it over the door on this one, which I thought was cute instead of over the window. Look how cute that is. Love that. And then we've got the little plant, which we can use just one regular size dimensional on that is perfect, I think. I didn't quite get it centered, but that's all right. And then the plant just kind of sits here on the walkway next to that building. I love that. That's so cute. And then we've got the Wish You Were Here, and I'm just going to stamp it directly onto the Whisper White here in this corner because I think that looks perfect. And I think I will do it in the Flirty Flamingo because that's the darkest of the three colors and it will show up the best, I think. You could use Memento Black if you want to as well, but I'll just use this Flirty Flamingo. We've got our Wish You Were Here. Love that. How cute is that? Fantastic. So let me compare it really quick to the, this is on page 30 of the catalog. This is the card here, how they made it, and this is how I made it. Just a little bit different. They used a different green here, maybe Granny Apple Green or Lemon Lime Twist maybe, but everything else is pretty close. And then you can add some cute little sparkles to it if you want to. Let me see what we've got. Maybe we'll just use some regular silver rhinestones. I think that would be perfect for this card. Just grab a couple of little ones, throw them on here in a couple of spots, maybe up by that sentiment. Maybe we'll use one for a doorknob right there. That's kind of cute. Why not, right? Oh, thought I had it and I lost it. The one up here by the building, maybe one down toward the left. All right, perfect. So there's the two cards from today. Like I said, I'm apologizing why this isn't going live for me. I've messed this up twice now, and hopefully I won't do that again. But thank you for watching. I appreciate you joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Let me get this video to stop, and we'll see where to do that at. Every time I click something, it doesn't stop. But thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And let me pull this out of here, and I apologize because it's going to go kind of wonky. We'll bring it in closer so you can see. And thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.